In this video, I'm going to show you how to generate a table of contents using styles in Word 2010. To create a table of contents requires two steps. The first is to mark your headings, and the second is to insert your table and change the look. I have an example of a brief here that I've taken a lot of content out to demonstrate all of this. Here I have statement of jurisdiction, and what we're going to do is to mark our headings, we have to choose heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3, and so forth in our styles up above here on the Home tab in the Styles group. But the styles that Word has is not what we want in our document, so I'm going to show you a trick how to tell Word to use the style and format that we've already got in our document, but still apply it as a heading. So here I have statement of jurisdiction. If I highlight this and I just mouse over, for example, style 2, if you notice it changed the look of my font. I don't want that, and I actually want it to be a heading 1, but in this example I just want to show you how that's a defined style and we don't want to use that style, but we want to use that heading. I want it to be a heading 1, so I've highlighted my text, I come up here to heading 1 and I right click on it and say update heading 1 to match selection. Now that I've told Microsoft Word that in their styles heading 1 is all caps Times New Roman 13 point center underline, it's going to keep that, and so now I can mark the rest of the heading 1 items in my document by simply clicking on heading 1. Here is a heading 2. I'm going to right click on heading 2 and say update heading 2 to match selection. And now that I've told it how heading 2 is supposed to look like, I can mark the remaining heading 2 in my document by simply clicking on heading 2. And I'm going to go ahead and mark this as a heading 3. And to see my heading 3, I have to click here, right click, and click update heading 3 to match selection. If you've gone through your document and you're not sure whether you have marked something as a heading 1, 2, or 3, and so forth, if you simply click on the text up here at the top, it will highlight the heading or the style that it's been applied to. And so it really helps determine whether you've already marked something. Now I'm going to go ahead, now that I've marked my headings, I'm going to insert my table of contents. So I'm going to create some room here. And to do that, you click on the References tab at the top, and right here under our first group is Table of Contents. I'm going to click on the drop down here, and you can use a custom style or a built-in template, or you can create your own custom style. I'm going to choose down here Insert Table of Contents, and here is the preview of what it's going to look like. By default, when you click Insert Table of Contents and you don't choose a template, it still is going to choose a template for you, and you can change it from here. You might want to check with your professor on what style they want your table of contents to look like, what fonts, and spacing, and so forth. Here I'm going to just leave it as it is and choose what they've selected for me and click OK. And there I've inserted my table of contents. And you can then add this and so forth. What I want to point out is when I click here on the table, did you notice everything highlighted is gray? That means that that is a field. If you come in here and manually change something, let's say that you want to change jurisdiction to lowercase, okay? As soon as I come up here, back up to References and click Update Table, or right click and say Update Field and highlight the whole table to be updated, it's going to change it right back because it's a field. So these are going off of the styles that I had defined earlier. If you, for some reason, want to have everything in your table be a different size than what you originally had, you're going to have to go back and change those styles. Again, you need to check with your professor. But if you want to change the spacing of this table, all you need to do is right click after you've highlighted it and say Edit Field. And on the left hand here we're going to choose Table of Contents. And if I click Modify, I can edit the font, the point, and the spacing and the indentation and everything for that heading 1. And here it kind of describes what the style is on that. And you can also come in here when you do table of contents, when you do your heading 1, you have to also do your heading 2 and your heading 3. So you have to do each one. But once you apply this, this is only going to apply for this document, not all documents, unless you say new documents are based on this template. If you find that you have found a setting for your table of contents and you're going to use it regularly, then apply it for future documents. I'm going to leave my table of contents as it is, and I'm going to come down here and highlight another heading 3, mark one, click on my Home tab, and because I have already defined my style for heading 3, I just simply mark it as a heading 3. And if I come up here to my table, I don't see it in my table. Well, that's because we need to update the table. Again, to update it, you can click on it and right-click and say Update Field, or you can click on the References tab and say Update Table, and then update the entire table. And there you can see the additional heading that I marked. So as you're continuing to edit your brief and add pages, just keep in mind you're going to have to update your table of contents manually when you're done. I hope this video helped.